Welcome or welcome back to Tome Travelers. I am your guide, Erica, and we're going to do a book tag today. Yay! I got my questions. So we're going to start with It's Anything But Books tag. I will find the originator for this. Please forgive me if I don't remember. So the first question is, name cartoons that you love. Well, we're going to go old school, and we're going to go a long time ago, back to the 80s. We will start with She-Ra, Princess of Power. This is 1980 She-Ra, not the new one. Nothing personal against the new one. I think it's fine for this era, but the era that I grew up in, I'm sticking with my 80s. Much more fun that way. I also like He-Man, Looney Tunes, the old Looney Tunes, Tom and Jerry, Pink Panther, Scooby-Doo, in all his forms, except for a pup named Scooby-Doo. I did not like a pup named Scooby-Doo. No. Speed Buggy. Rugrats. That was 1991, so I was 10 then. Gem, because she's truly outrageous. Care Bears, of course. The original My Little Ponies. Nothing to say against the new My Little Ponies. I love them too. They're cute. I love that show. Don't watch it anymore because my boys don't watch it. Yes, my boys even watch My Little Ponies. That was cute. They like the Care Bears too. I introduced them to the movies. The 80s movies. Thank you. A lot of old stuff on Nickelodeon, USA, TNT, because that's where there was no Cartoon Network back in the day. And if it's not cartoons, I loved Are You Afraid of the Dark? That was on Snick, as they like to say. That I love that. What else did they have? When we did have Cartoon Network on Toonami, it's Shin-Chan. Don't see that one anymore. But I loved it. I loved watching some of the anime, like Cowboy Bebop, Big O, Witch Hunter Robin. I mean, some of these aren't on there anymore. Death Note, I think, is still on. They always had Dragon Ball Z. But before there was Cartoon Network, I don't remember what channel it was on, but Sailor Moon, of course. Unico is not a TV show, but Unico was a movie, so I loved Unico. What else? The Little Prince. That was on Nickelodeon way back in the 80s, before I even knew it was a book. So, yeah, lots of those cartoons. Jabberjaws, yes. Gotta have Jabberjaws. Jabba, 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 jaws. And Smurfs. And Josie and the Pussycats. Some of these cartoons are older than me. Some of them are my age. Look, I'm gonna be 41 next month. Please, I love my old stuff. And some new stuff, like Futurama. But Futurama's been around forever. And the Powerpuff Girls and Dexter's Laboratory. I love them. Number 2, what is your favorite song right now? Oh. Alright, we're going to start with the 80s. Because I have to address that. My favorite song is from the 80s. Number 1 is Broken Wings by Mr. Mister. I've loved that song since I was a toddler. You can't change my mind. One right behind it is definitely Africa by Toto, and it has to be by Toto. I've heard Weezer sing it. I don't give a shit. Toto still does it the best. Some things I like my originals, some things I like as covers. If Celine did Africa, I might prefer that one. I don't know. But it's Celine, and she's my queen. Then it's like, Take My Breath Away by Berlin, and Take On Me by Aha. They're like, Take On Me and Take My Breath Away are like this. They're both number 3, because I love them just the same. And then, of course, probably right after that is Duran Duran's Hungry Like the Wolf, and then I Ran by A Flock of Seagulls. Yes, I know my 80s, because I grew up on there and I watched MTV. And VH1 when it came later, but MTV was like my bread and butter to listen to music that wasn't my mother's. Not to say anything wrong about my mom's. She grew up on Motown and disco, so... You know, I love Motown and I love most of my disco. I love Miss Donna Summer, bless her heart. She's been gone for so long. We love her. But I think right now my favorite, besides the 80s, is two songs with Amy Lee, lead singer of Evanescence. Love Exists, which I found out was a cover in a different language. And then Love Goes On, and she's accompanied by Lindsey Sterling, who plays the violin, and it's really beautiful. Like, I love hearing it. And then Blinding Lights by The Weeknd, because that song just reminds me of the 80s. But I love music, so right now it changes. The 80s, the what I just told you, that doesn't change. Those are still stuck there because I've loved that all my life. So, but whatever else I got going on, I got Bon Jovi in there, partial 80s. I got Lady Gaga on there. I got Celine Dion. I got Halsey on there. More stuff by The Weeknd. I can't tell you. I got the new stuff by ABBA. Yes, ABBA, who, when I was born in 1981, decided to split up. I'm like, oh, come on. And then they come back 40 years later with something, and I'm like, well, I've been waiting all my life for this, obviously. If we're going to go disco, we're going to go ABBA. Besides Donna Summer, we're going to go ABBA. I love ABBA. I really, truly do. They are awesome. So yeah, I got a lot of ABBA in the car too. But those were my favorites. I mean, I just love music just as much as I love reading books. So it's varied. I have at least one. No, I have instrumental music. Some mostly from my Uncharted video games and a couple from my God of War games. But there is one on there, and it's Bach. I believe Johann Sebastian Bach. And it's the main one that everybody knows. It goes doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Everybody associates it with Dracula. I have that on there, and it's the organ one. So, yeah. I have a lot, and I love a lot. So, number 3, what could you do for hours that isn't reading? Besides playing with my kids and having fun with them, well, if I'm not with my babies, or if they're just playing on their tablets and don't want anything to do with me, or they sit with me and they like to watch, and then sometimes I let them play they play their video games, which is Minecraft, but I'm in the room because it's my console. I do like playing video games. I am of the generation that, that's what we did. We loved video games. It was something different. From the Atari to what we have now. My goodness gracious. And I still have an Atari, by the way, the original Atari, not that second generation. I got first generation Atari. Thank you, Grandpa. I've got an Intellivision. They all work still. I've got my original Nintendo. My coffee is making me burp a little. Excuse me. I've got my original Nintendo. I've got a PSP. I've got a Wii. I've got a Super Nintendo. I've got all PlayStations except for 5. I had an Xbox 360 and I sold it to the exchange, I think. I couldn't do the Xbox. I tried, people. I really did give it a chance. I couldn't. The controller reminded me of the Nintendo 64 one, and that was hard. And when I'm so used to PlayStation, I couldn't do it. So no. Yeah, I have all these consoles, and they all still work. They all keep running. They all keep playing, and I'm going to eventually break out the Atari and Intellivision downstairs, and the Nintendo, so my kids can play old school games. But yes, and other than video games, I do love to write, because I can do that hours on end. Just give me some music, and that's all I need to focus. Boom, I can write for 8 hours and not have a cramp. Because I'm used to writing a lot, because as young as I was, I loved to write. Because when you're a reader, most times I've noticed people will want to write, and they love to write, and that's just, I think books and writing go hand to hand. Reading and writing go hand in hand. So, and if all else, and there's nothing else that I really want to do, then I will watch the IDTV channel on my TV. if I feel like just bumming out watching TV. I think I've done enough watching TV in my life. So number 4, what is something you love to do that your followers would be surprised by? Well, because y'all don't come with me when I drive, it's singing in the car. I love to sing. Do I have a good singing voice? Yes and no. I know my limits, that I can't get too high and I can't go too low. Like, if I try to sing certain songs, I'll sing them anyways, even if I can't sing it. But yes, I do think I have a pretty good singing voice. I'm not the best, but I think I do. Other people may not, but I ain't singing for you unless I have accompaniment. But I also like to, when people that are telemarketers are just spam calling, when it's an actual person and not some robo, I like to answer the phone, and I like to do different accents. Like a British accent. I could do this all day and not even break character. Sometimes I might have to think about it, but not really. I mean, I've accidentally slipped into this one day because sometimes my voice will... Oh, that really got chopped. I don't know most of the British lingo, but any American that hasn't been there or doesn't know the lingo, you can easily fool. I've done this all my life, fooling people. And they really think I'm from England, and when they ask, I just say from London, because really that's the only place I know. Well, at the time I did. I know it's just more than London. But I know there's different accents in London, well, just like America. We have the southern accent. I almost didn't say that right. I think I was trying to slip into my southern accent. You have a New York accent, a Boston accent. I don't know if there's any accents out west. Well, I don't know, but the southern states have more of an accent, and I just said y'all, and I'm not even from the south. I've been there to Tennessee, and if you go to Florida, it really doesn't sound like the south at all. I mean, it's so goddamn commercialized, excuse my language, that it sounds more of the north than the south. I mean, unless of course you go somewhere else in Florida. I mean, I've only been to Orlando, so excuse me, I haven't been that far south in Florida. But can somebody actually tell me, if you're from England, what part of England or city do I sound from? Because I say London, and I don't believe this is a London accent, but I could be wrong, I don't know anything. But I've been able to do this accent all my life, and I love to fool people with this one. But there is one accent that if they piss me off enough, I will do, and I like to scare people with, because people don't want to mess with Hispanic Latino people. And I don't want to call it a Mexican accent that I do, but I can do this accent. It reminds me of the characters, although it doesn't sound like him, but it's like the accent of, if you remember in Looney Tunes, Speedy Gonzales, and he had a cousin that was Slowpoke Rodriguez, and it reminds me of that accent. Now, don't ask me how I learned how to do it. I just can do it. So if I get really pissed off, say this caller has been calling 3 times a day, or they've called plenty of times and they're not listening to my parents, because there's one specific one that I just want to slap upside the head. I go into this one, man. Carlos owes me money. Why are you calling me? Are you Carlos? You gotta give me money, man. No, I don't know. No, I killed these people. They don't live here no more. I'm sorry. No, they don't. I killed them, man. I dare you to call the police, because if you call the police, I'm gonna call Carlos and say that you have my money and you won't give it to me, and I owe Carlos money, so he can come after your ass, man. I'm tired of you calling here. Go away. My nose is itchy. See how I did that? And I'm not trying to make fun of anybody or anything. It's just, that's something I can do. But that accent, this accent, makes people laugh. I don't know why, because you don't expect it out of me and you think I'm a dude. But, you know, I don't know how I do it. It just happened. One day I could do it. It's like a few weeks ago I could do Mickey Mouse. well, certain phrases of Mickey Mouse. Like, oh boy. Well, hiya, pal. Doesn't sound as good because when I had a cold, it sounded better. But I'm getting there. Some things I can do and some things I can't. Ask me more. I'll do more for you. I can do a southern accent. I can sound like Dracula. I can do animals, certain animals. I can fool my mom in thinking there's a cat in the house. But number 5, what is your favorite unnecessarily specific thing to learn about? Oh, that's really good. Besides animals, if I don't know something about that animal or learning something new, I love true crime. Like, all of it. Like I said, I love the IDT TV channel. I like reading about it. I love just learning. I don't know why. I should have gone into forensics or something. Or detective or something. But I'm just like, nah. Culture. I love learning about culture. Like, somebody's culture, like where they're from. Like, if I hear an accent, which, again, because I can do accents, but I love people's accents. Like if they're from Ireland, wherever, India. I love learning about that, their culture, their history, their religion, what's going on in their country. I love it. I can't help but love to learn about it. I'm very interested in the world and what they believe in, what legends that they have. Like, do they have La Llorona, vampire, Strugoi in Romania? And with now that these writers are coming out, I like with Rick Riordan Presents, or the last book that I bought that came out, The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea. That's a Korean retelling of one of their legends. I love retellings. I love learning about the original legend. I have a book called Beneath the Moon, which is all sorts of folk tales from all over the world. That I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this one. Oh, I remember this one. Grimm's Fairy Tales, that's all over Europe. I love things like culture, the legends, everything. So I'm very interested in that. And in a way, that's part of history. So yes, I do love learning about history. There's certain histories, like the culture thing. And if we're going to learn about war, it's only World War II. I know about the Civil War. I'm more interested in World War II because of my grandfather, who, was a Marine, and he was sent to Okinawa. And yeah, I learned what he wanted to tell me and his children. He did not tell us the really bad things about war. That was for the night terrors, and you couldn't sneak up on him. But eventually, I think the night terrors went away, and eventually, yeah, you could sneak up on him. So, number 6, what is something unusual you know how to do? You just heard it, accents. I know how to do accents. Okay, I'll do my Southern Belle accent, but I gotta make sure. Oh, see, I slipped right into my British accent. Dang it. That's why I think British people can do Southern accents and sound American, because the British and the Southern accent kind of go with each other. It's really odd, because I like doing my Southern Belle, but I really have to make sure I don't slip into my British accent, because it's so easy. Maybe because the British accent I've been doing since I was 6 years old. I think this was the next best one that I could do. Too much of Blanche Devereaux, I swear. And there's more just than the Southern Belle that I can do. I go, hey, Ma, are you going to pick up that roadkill? Or are we just going to leave it there for somebody else to get? Now, I know people don't eat roadkill. Maybe they do. I don't know. But that's what they sound sometimes down there. They sound like this. And that's what some Southerners sound like. But it's okay to sound like this. But some of them sound like Miss Scarlet from Gone with the Wind. I'll never go hungry again. It's so exaggerated. But some people sound like that. But going down south, I mean, sometimes you just sound like this. I mean, it doesn't sound like this in Florida. I don't know why. It must be certain parts. But I mean, I've only been to Tennessee, and I didn't drive. I was a passenger through Georgia. And we went down south between Tennessee, Kentucky, and then I think we hit Georgia. I don't remember, but I didn't drive, so I don't know. Oh, shut up, you damn cuckoo clock. It is noon up in here, and I gotta have me some lunch. I better hurry up with this. That's my southern accent. I can do plenty more. Not just accents, but characters, animals. And some I can only do a bit of a few phrases, like the Mickey Mouse one. I can only do those 2 phrases. And the laugh isn't very good. It's like, ho ho! Yeah, that's not very good. And I'm not very good at doing Goofy, but I can do the but it's not very good because it's too feminine sounding. Some of them are... But my British... Oh, wait, I was going to say British. Between the British and the Southern accent, those are my 2 very good ones, plus that... I say Mexican, but it's whatever you want to call it. Latin American accent. Pretty good. Don't ask me how I learned it. Some things I don't even question. I just know how to do. Number 7 is name something you've made in the last year. I have made chocolate-covered popcorn for people at work for Christmas. That's what I usually do around Christmas. I ask people if they want chocolate, and do they want the chocolate-covered popcorn, what kind of chocolate. Most people want dark. One person wanted white. I never did white chocolate with popcorn. I did try one to make sure it was okay. It was good. I go, and I don't like white chocolate, but I'm like, this will be good. She loved it. She's like, I ate that in 2 nights. But, yeah, I mean, other than that, I'm not that crafty on things. But chocolate is something I do not. It's really simple to do. It's really easy. So number 8, what is your most recent personal project? Selling books online at Pango Books. These books come from my personal library, except for one. I bought a duplicate because this one place that I bought the book, I bought it for a friend, and it was taking forever to get here. Do you know, I ordered that book on March 22nd, and it took almost 4 weeks to get here, where I waited a bit and then saw it on Amazon, and I bought it on Amazon. Came real quick. And I was still waiting for that book. And I got it, last week? Man, I'm telling you. And so I put it on Pango Books and sold it. I put it up and it got sold in less than 24 hours. Some of my older books don't sell. They eventually will. I've seen they're in somebody's bag right now. Excuse me, the coffee. Some of the newer books, some of my Book of the Month books go fast. Some books aren't even moving. They haven't been viewed, or they're just in somebody's wish list. I'm hoping that changes. I'm thinking about if the ones that haven't been viewed, I'm going to take first. I also have books that I didn't put on Pango Books because I'm like, I don't feel right putting them on there. There are a couple of Glenn Beck books, and I'm like, I don't want, even though they're not political, Glenn Beck is political, and I'm just like, I don't want to put those up there because, and I'll be honest, I didn't read them. I read the one. No, I didn't read that one. I didn't read them, and I'm like, do I believe in this anymore? No. I haven't listened to Glenn Beck. Wow. I'd say in over 20 years, maybe? I don't even remember. I liked what he was saying, but then I realized he's not middle of the road, as far as I know. I'm just like, I like to be middle of the road because that's how I feel. I don't want to get political on this. Sorry if I just did. Sorry if you feel any kind of way about Glenn Beck. That's why I didn't put it on there. But I like to sell, and it's easy to sell. It's easy to buy off of them. It's easy to do. It didn't take me long to even set up anything. I mean, it was boom, boom, boom. And yeah, I sold quite a lot of books, and some of them were old. Some of them, and it can be it can be a really used book, a really old book, and you just, if you don't know the original price of that book, it's okay. You can leave it blank, but then you can set whatever price. I mean, it's whatever price you want to put on there. I mean, some of my stuff hasn't sold because maybe they already have the book, maybe it's too old, maybe they're just not interested. And some of them I can understand that you wouldn't be interested in some of these books because some of these are old. But if after a while, I'm going to say if they don't sell, I'm going to take them off, and then I'm going to go to half-price books and just see if they'll take them, and if they don't, I'm just going to donate it to my local library, which I love my local library. They're really cool. Okay. So, number 9, tell us something you think about often. Both of my grandparents. My grandpa, because I love him, and I truly miss him, and miss his wisdom. Now, don't get me wrong, my mom is full of wisdom and experience, but sometimes I want somebody's older opinion, and they ain't here. So I kind of miss that. My grandma, especially now that I've been, because I was recently diagnosed with type 2 diabetes in December of 2021, she lived with it for almost 50 years. 49 years to be exact, but almost 50. If she would have lived to been 89, it would have been 50 years she had been diagnosed with it. So I miss her, and I have many questions. I know I have a doctor for that. I know I have my Aunt Laurie for that. She was RN, and she took care of my, both my mom and my aunt took care of, my grandma, but my aunt, because she was in the industry long enough, she knows more. So, but I would rather have, my grandma's firsthand experience with it. Although times have changed and it has really gotten better for a diabetic, seriously. I kind of I try to remember, I'm like, so what did she eat? I know she was still allowed to drink coffee, and this was before they had stevia in the raw. I use that for sugar in my coffee, and I've been doing that since almost 11 years. Because when I was pregnant, I couldn't use Equal because of the aspartame in it. So I had to use stevia on the raw. It made my coffee taste a whole hell of a lot better, I'm going to tell you that right now. I think I have to watch my creamer. That's not a problem. But other than that, I know she had, most days my grandmother had 2 cups of coffee. Sometimes she had 3. On any given day, when I go to work, I definitely have 2 cups because of the thing. So, and that takes me from 6 o'clock to, depending on how busy, I'll be sipping on it between 6 and 11 a.m., my coffee. So I notice I can with the sensor, which type 2, people with type 2 can have this. It's better than pricking your fingers. I'm going to tell you, it might be a little more expensive, but you can have this, and you have to change the sensor every 2 weeks and alter arms. And it's really interesting because I can see where my sugar's at. So I know sometimes the coffee will get it out of range a little bit, and then it'll go right back down. I mainly stay in range, but I am watching my sugar and trying to figure out why. I know I should have a snack in between lunch and dinner because it's such a long stretch. But it's like, what more can I combat? I miss her because, well, not only that, because I love her and I really wish she was here, but because of what advice and experience she can give to me. It kind of sucks. I get diagnosed and she's gone. But I am, in a way, glad that my grandparents did go before COVID came, because I know that would have been worse, and I'm sure they would have died from that. I mean, you can't be sure, but she lived in a home. So I'm glad they went when they went. And that was the best way. God works in mysterious ways. So, number 10, give us something that's your favorite, but something oddly specific to you. Well, I love animals. Everybody and their brother knows that. And I love every living thing except for certain kind of bugs. Yes, I do love bugs too. Certain bugs I don't. The main ones are flea, ticks, mosquitoes, flies, and horseflies. I love dragonflies though, but they're not really, to me they're not a fly. Flies and their babies, maggots, wasps, cockroaches, ugh. And I think that's about it for the bugs. That's anything else I pretty much am okay with, That's why my boys love that are like, oh, mommy, look at this bug, and I'm not afraid of it. And I look for snakes in our yard, and my mom's like, eh! But this flamingo. I do love flamingos. But are they my favorite bird? No. I think What is my favorite bird? An owl, probably. But the flamingo is special. Not only is it my favorite color, I love pink, but because of my grandma. My grandpa used to call her flamingo legs because she was very skinny. She had very skinny legs, and then she was kind of a little overweight on the top, shall we say. So, and that's how my family's kind of built. But he called her flamingo legs. And because of that, I thought she loved flamingos. Now, granted, she probably did. Her favorite color was also pink. But she didn't mind that we would get her flamingo stuff every now and again for her birthday or for Mother's Day or for... Do I feel a tag? Because there is one. So this got... I built this for her for her birthday at Build-A-Bear. And I gave it to her, and she loved it. She had it set up. When she died, I took it back. So I keep it close where it can't get hurt or anything. And when I'm in need of a hug, I hug it because I think of my grandmother. I don't want to cry. So, lastly, say the first thing that pops into your head. I apologize, this is so long. And I will see you next time. Stay healthy, stay safe, stay blessed, and know that you're loved. Bye.